Welcome to the Chief's Pour. Buckle up and get ready for the ride.
Hey, it's old Big Chief from the Whiskey Trip, and this is the Chief's Pour. Today, we're taking a ride with a distillery that I have a lot of respect for, Still Austin Whiskey Company, and my good buddy Emiliano. He's the head distiller there, so you know I'm gonna love it, right? Also, the bottle that we're tasting today, that we're reviewing, my good buddy, I gotta say thank you to, is Kevin Hemingway. Thanks for letting me borrow this bottle right here. You can see how beautiful the artwork is. Kevin, thanks. I hope I didn't drink too much of it. But I've been letting this thing set in my glass. You can hear it rocking around there in my rocks glass, letting it open up a little bit. And in the glass is something a little different. They're distillery exclusive Calvados Cask finished straight bourbon whiskey, release number 1. This is 106 proof with a mash bill of 70% white corn, 25% rye, and 5% malted barley. But first, let's talk about Still Austin's story. Still Austin Whiskey Company is part of the generation of distilleries that helped establish Texas as a serious American whiskey region. That's right. Texas is an American whiskey region, and you heard me say that for many times on my shows. The idea began in 2012 when Cleveland Seals approached his son, Chris, about starting a distillery. What began as a research project turned into a plan to build a whiskey company rooted in Austin and Texas agricultural. Still Austin broke ground in 2014, began distilling in 2017, and released its first straight bourbon, The Musician, in 2020. I got a chance not too long after that to go to Austin and sit down with Chris and do an interview on the Bourbon Road podcast. If you want to go back and find that on the Bourbon Road, I'd appreciate you listening to it. But I really did enjoy sitting down with him and having that conversation. One of the things I've always respected about Still Austin is their commitment to making whiskey in Texas from Texas grown grain. They mill, mash, ferment, distill, and mature and bottle their whiskey in Austin. That's what I love about them. I've been in there and I've watched the crew there, the distillers. I've watched them back there milling their grain and just being covered in dust and making their whiskey. And I got to respect that for them. It's not easy in there. It's hot. They're sweaty, and that dust is sticking to them. So it takes a lot of work. And then you have their marketing team. A lot of people say, Still Austin is a marketing company that makes whiskey. Well, they damn sure do a good job of it. I'll tell you that. Another major piece of Still Austin's story is master blender Nancy the Nose Fraley. Her extensive background with French brandy and blending techniques has influenced Still Austin's approach to maturation and blending. And then there's the art on these bottles. Like I showed you, Still Austin has made the art part of the brand from the beginning. Their iconic labels helping give these bottles an identity that's unmistakably Austin. That's important to this review because Still Austin does so many things right. More often than not, they hit the mark. But taking chances also means occasionally taking a swing that doesn't connect. And for me, this bottle was one of those swings. A little history on Calvados. To understand this bottle, you need to understand what's special about the finishing barrel. Calvados is an apple brandy from Normandy, France, a region with a cider making tradition stretching back centuries. The process begins with apples grown specifically for cider production. Unlike the typical apple that you would eat, cider apples are selected for different levels of sweetness, acidity, bitterness, and tannin. The apples are pressed and fermented into cider. The cider is then distilled and resulting in spirit that's matured in oak. The name Calvados eventually became legally protected with designation rules defining where and how the spirit can be produced. Calvados pays tribute, received protection, designated status in 1942. with broader modern regulations developing afterwards. Depending on the designation, different production methods are permitted. For example, traditional requires double distillation in a pot still, while other Calvados can be produced using column still, like the one used at Still Austin. As it matures, Calvados can develop flavors of fresh and baked apples, dried fruit, spice, vanilla, caramel, and oak. That's what makes this Calvados cask so interesting for finishing bourbon. I was very interesting in this finishing barrel. You've essentially got two different traditions meeting inside one barrel: Texas bourbon and the apple brandy of Normandy. On paper, that sounds like one hell of a ride, right? But let's get into the whiskey itself, right? Still Austin took it straight bourbon whiskey and finished it Calvados cask for this limited distillery exclusive release number 1. It's bottled at 106 proof, like I said before. It's 6 years old, 70% white corn, 25% rye, and 5% malted barley. Going into this pour, I was looking for the Calvados cask to complement Still Austin's bourbon with apple, dark fruit, and spice. Some of these flavors absolutely showed up for me. Unfortunately, so did a lot of the oak. So let's nose this joker. There's a lot happening on this nose right here. I get a lot of toasted raisin bread and fig jam right away. It opens up with some Earl Grey tea with honey. Followed by a darker cherry tobacco note. There's sweetness, dark fruit, and some really interesting complexity here. I absolutely love that. I'm going to give it a 25 out of 25 on the nose. On the palate, I get dark baked apples with red currants. The fruit is darker and richer than what I was expecting, rather than a bright and crisp. But currants have that little bit of bite, I think, tartness. Then comes the note really defines this whiskey to me: a drying, sweet, flat Dr. Pepper. There's that familiar dark cola sweetness and spice, but it just feels muted to me. The whiskey becomes increasingly drying as it moves across my palate, followed by a lingering spice that carries towards the finish. There's plenty of flavor here, which is why the palate earns a 30 out of 35. But the balance isn't where I want it. At 106 proof, I expect more life and more pop out of this. Instead, the oak, it just starts taking control. So that earned it that 30 out of 35. Let's go on to the finish. To me, this finish is just medium. The spice from the palate hangs around before giving way to drying oak and tannin. Then I get a little bitterness on the back end. That bitterness is overwhelming to me. But combined with that drying oak, it keeps the finish from ending on a high note I wanted. I'm going to give it a 20 out of 25. So Still Austin does so many things right and often hits the mark exactly. So let's get into the overall of this whiskey. That's why I hold them to such a high standard for me. They aren't afraid to experiment, and I respect that. Whiskey doesn't move forward if distillers aren't willing to take chances. And Still Austin's damn sure show that they're willing to take chances. But not every experiment is going to work for every palate. This one was a stretch for me. There are good flavors here. The nose is excellent. And the baked apples and red currants show that Calvados barrel can contribute. But ultimately, there's too much oak for me. And once that drying, sweet, flat Dr. Pepper note showed up, I just couldn't get away from that. And maybe that's from my youth, having to drink a flat Dr. Pepper that had lost all of its fizz in a hot Texas sun. That just kind of brings that note back for me, and it's displeasing. Then, there's the bottle itself. The art's absolutely on point. Almost a midnight distillery on here of Still Austin. I really did love it. It's a sexy label. Still Austin continues to make some of the most recognizable whiskey bottles coming out of Texas. The artwork fits their personality, fits the distillery, and makes this release feel special before you even pull the cork. Unfortunately, this time around, I like the art more than I like the whiskey. So overall, I gave it a 12 out of 15. So for the Chiefs score, I gave it an 87 out of 100. Nose 25 out of 25. And nose hit home, baby. The palate 30 out of 35. The finish 20 out of 25. And overall, I gave it a 12 out of 15, giving it the 87 out of 100. That's my final take. Still Austin does so many things right. More often than not, they hit the mark. That's exactly why I'm not going to judge the distillery by this one bottle. But I'm also not going to give a bottle a pass because of the name on the label or what friends I have working there. There's good whiskey here, I believe. The nose is fantastic. Like I said, the palate has some beautiful baked apple and red currant notes. And I can appreciate what Still Austin was trying to accomplish by bringing a Texas bourbon together with a Calvados cask. But this one just didn't hit for me. It was overly oaked, too drying, and that sweet, flat Dr. Pepper note, impossible for me to ignore. Still Austin took a swing. I respect that swing. This one didn't hit the mark, baby. And while the whiskey may not have gotten there for me, they damn sure got the artwork right? So let's go take a break from the review real fast. And last week I did on the Chiefs Pour, I promised a giveaway, and I wanted to announce that winner. We had Unrain Weeded Whiskey on, and I was going to give away a bottle of that in one of my rocks glasses. I appreciate everyone who watches, comments, shares, and continue to support the Chiefs Pour and the Whiskey Trip. It means the world to me, how much support and love I get across all my social media platforms on YouTube. So thank you for watching. But this week's winner is a guy that has been hanging around. He's been putting in for all my giveaways. He's been giving love, and he followed the instructions to the T. Gabriel Garza, congratulations, sir. You are the winner. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for sticking with me, my friend. I truly appreciate your continued support and being part of the ride. And before I leave you, remember this. This is my review based on my palate. Whiskey is personal. This bottle didn't hit the mark for me, but you might pour it and absolutely love it. I've seen other reviews out there, and guys and gals love this bottle. You may find flavors I didn't find, or that the oak and Calvados influence might hit your palate perfectly. Don't drink a whiskey because somebody else gave it a high score, or don't pass on one just because somebody gave it a low score. Find the whiskey you like. Drink what fits your palate. At the end of the day, the best whiskey isn't the one with the highest score. The best whiskey is the one that you enjoy drinking. Until next time, this is Old Big Chief. Thanks for taking this ride with me, baby.
I hope you enjoyed the Chiefs Pour.